Last week, we looked into every Power 5 conference. For each conference, I've been picking the best player from every team in that respective conference. So far, we've talked about the Pac-12, Big 12, Big 10, and SEC, in case you missed those videos. Today, we're going to be wrapping things up with the ACC. Before we get to today's video, make sure to smash that subscribe button and turn on those notifications if you're new to my channel. If you're watching this video, odds are you love college football, and odds are you aren't subscribed to my channel. So make sure to subscribe to one of the best college football communities here on YouTube. Also, make sure to drop a like on this video as well. It helps with that YouTube algorithm and helps share the video with more college football fans. Plus, it only takes a second to do. We'll kick off this list with Clemson defensive tackle Bryan Bresee. He was named third team All-ACC last year despite playing in only 4 games. In his limited action, he finished with 15 tackles, with 3 coming for loss. He also added an interception as well. He burst onto the scene as a true freshman in 2020. He was named the ACC's Defensive Rookie of the Year. He finished the season with 33 tackles, 6.5 tackles for loss, 4 sacks, 2 pass breakups, a forced fumble, and a safety. He was a freshman All-American by essentially every outlet out there. He'll return for his 3rd season with the Tigers, where he'll be the anchor on defense for Clemson. For Wake Forest, quarterback Sam Hartman really emerged as one of the top quarterbacks in the country in 2021. Entering last season, he only had 33 career passing touchdowns and about 5,000 passing yards over his previous 3 seasons. Well, in 2021, he nearly matched both those numbers. He shattered his career high in touchdown passes as he threw 39. Hartman also threw for over 4,200 yards. He finished the season 3rd in the ACC in completions, 3rd in passing yards, and 2nd in passing touchdowns. Hartman ranks inside the top 10 in the entire country in pass attempts, passing yards, passing touchdowns, and total yards. He was also a threat on the ground as he added 11 rushing touchdowns, the 5th most in the entire ACC among all players. His 50 total touchdowns responsible for were the 2nd most in the entire FBS. We'll go to NC State, where they have an absolute stud at quarterback in Devin Leary. In 2021, he was a finalist for the Johnny Unitas Golden Arm Award. Leary set a new single-season record with 35 passing touchdowns. He ranked 3rd in the league in passing efficiency with 157 mark, the 2nd best mark for a season in NC State history. His 3,400 passing yards were the 6th most ever in Wolfpack history. He was the ACC leader in touchdown passes thrown against ACC competition with 27. He also became the only quarterback in school history to throw for 4 or more touchdowns against 5 ACC opponents in the same season. He'll enter the 2022 campaign ranked 7th in school history in passing yards and 6th in passing touchdowns, trailing some pretty good names. Feels like we've been talking a lot about quarterbacks, but that's because the ACC has a lot of good ones in 2022. We'll talk about Miami quarterback Tyler Van Dyke. As a freshman, he was named the ACC's Rookie of the Year and the ACC's Offensive Rookie of the Year. He didn't even play a full season as he started the final 9 games of the year. He threw for just under 3,000 yards while throwing 25 passing touchdowns compared to only 6 interceptions. Van Dyke ended the season with 6 straight games of at least 300 passing yards and 3 touchdown passes, becoming the first Power 5 quarterback to record such a streak in a single season since Joe Burrow back in his Heisman-winning campaign. Van Dyke became only the 3rd Miami player to win both ACC Rookie of the Year and ACC Offensive Rookie of the Year. Again, he accomplished this while making only 9 starts. For Florida State, we have defensive back Jamie Robinson. After spending 2 seasons with South Carolina, he transferred to Florida State in 2021. He recorded a team-high 85 tackles, including 7 tackles for loss. Robinson also had a team-high 4 interceptions, 3 pass breakups, and 2 forced fumbles. His season earned him first-team All-ACC honors. He was the only player in the country last year to have a game with more than 16 tackles and an interception. We'll get our first running back on the list with Syracuse running back Sean Tucker. He was named first-team All-ACC and was a 2nd-team AP All-American. He ran for 1,500 yards in 2021 and had 12 rushing touchdowns. He also added 20 receptions for 250 yards and 2 touchdowns. Tucker was 6th in the nation with 1,500 rushing yards and was 4th in the nation while averaging 125 rushing yards per game. He broke Syracuse's all-time rushing record. His 6.1 yards per carry were the 2nd most in the entire ACC. Sean Tucker became the first player in Syracuse history to rush for over 1,000 yards in 8 games or less. He set the program record for most 100-plus yard games in a season with 8, and the most consecutive 100-yard games with 7. He also became the first player in Syracuse history to rush for 100-plus yards in a game, while also having 100-plus receiving yards in a game. We'll get our first wide receiver on the list in North Carolina wide receiver Josh Downs. He was named first team All-ACC and was a semifinalist for the Blitnikoff Award last year. He finished the year with 101 catches for over 1,300 yards with 8 receiving touchdowns. He led the ACC and was 5th in the entire FBS in receptions, while he was 2nd in the ACC and 10th in the nation in receiving yards. Both of those numbers were North Carolina's single-season records. Downs had 8 or more catches in 11 of 13 games and had a streak of scoring a touchdown in 8 consecutive games. Downs was 3rd nationally with 750 yards after the catch and 11th in the country in first downs. It feels like he's been there forever, but Malik Cunningham is still the quarterback for Louisville. This will be his 5th season with the Cardinals. In his time there, he's thrown for over 8,000 yards with 62 passing touchdowns, while adding 2,600 yards on the ground with 38 rushing touchdowns. In 2021, he threw for a career-high 3,000 yards with 19 passing touchdowns and only 6 interceptions. Cunningham also rushed for over 1,000 yards with 20 rushing touchdowns. He was 5th in the conference in rushing yards and was 4th in the country in rushing touchdowns. His 4,000 yards of total offense ranked him in the top 15 in all of the FBS. Wide receiver Zay Flowers gets the honor for Boston College. This will be his 4th season with the Eagles. In his 3 prior years with Boston College, he's caught 122 passes for 2,000 yards and 17 receiving touchdowns. In 2021, he caught 44 passes for 800 yards and 5 receiving touchdowns. Flowers has also done some damage on the ground as well during his time at Boston College. He has 300 career rushing yards with 2 rushing touchdowns while averaging 7 yards a carry. Wide receiver Dontavian Wicks from Virginia had a breakout campaign in 2021 after entering the season with 3 career catches. He finished the 2021 campaign with 57 receptions for 1,200 yards and 9 receiving touchdowns. Wicks set the Virginia single-season receiving yardage record. He averaged 21 yards per reception, the most in the ACC and the 5th best in the entire country. His 6 games of 100-plus receiving yards were tied for the most in a single season in Virginia history. He became the 5th Cavalier to eclipse 1,000 receiving yards in a season. Wicks also tied as the fastest Virginia wide receiver to reach 1,000 yards, doing it in only 10 games. Pittsburgh's best player is defensive lineman Kalijah Cansey. Last season, he led the Panthers in tackles for loss with 13 and was 2nd on the team in sacks with 7. He had 33 total tackles, a forced fumble, and a pass breakup. He's one of the more dominant and underrated defensive players in the entire ACC. We'll go to Virginia Tech and linebacker Dax Holyfield. He was the best player on defense last year for the Hokies as he led the team in essentially every category. He led the team with 92 tackles, 9 tackles for loss, and 4.5 sacks. He also broke up a pass and recorded an interception. It earned him All-ACC honorable mention. We'll head to Duke with linebacker Shaka Hayward. He had a career year in 2021 as he finished the season with just under 100 tackles. 10.5 of them came for loss as he added 3 sacks. He also broke up a pass and had an interception as well. In his 3 seasons with the Blue Devils, he's racked up 250 total tackles, with 25.5 coming for loss, with 9.5 sacks. We'll wrap up this video with Georgia Tech and defensive back Charlie Thomas. He's done it all for the Yellow Jackets over the years as he's played a number of positions on defense. In 2021, he totaled 70 tackles, with 10 coming for loss and 3 sacks. He also added 2 interceptions, a forced fumble, and a fumble recovery. Over the last 4 years, he's totaled over 200 tackles with 26.5 tackles for loss and 8 sacks. Well, that wraps it up for today's video. Was there a player who I should have had for their respective team? Whoever should have been on this list, let me know in the comment section down below. Before you leave, make sure to smash that subscribe button and turn on those notifications if you're new to my channel. If you love college football, then this is definitely the place for you. Also, make sure to drop a like on this video as well. It helps with that YouTube algorithm and helps share the video with more college football fans. Plus, it only takes a second to do. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video.